course, I was upset as well, and I wanted to do something about it. And to me, that's not a reason you march. You march for a cause. The girls went over there just shouting at these men. The men didn't know what we were talking about. It caused a big hoopla at Morehouse. They hated us, and then we were labeled, as just crazy women. I don't even know how to explain it.
I believe that some Spelman women are very much concerned about being aligned with Morehouse men around causes and around perspectives around gender roles. I believe that this is not so unnatural, but it is disturbing, because the force of gender role construction that is informed by a very serious patriarchy, particularly within the African American community, and a community that has always given race the priority and upliftment of the race the priority, without looking at what that means for the other part of the race, the women, and feed off of internalized acceptance of inferiority because you were born female.
What insulted me the most is that what they're doing is carrying Spelman's name. Their actions were on television in other states. Their relatives were calling them and telling them about what was happening at Spelman. They were not thinking about what they were doing. They were doing it because they were upset. You don't go act on anger. You can't just lash out, and it still gets on my nerves that women would just act out instead of thinking about what they're doing. Because we could have seriously made that movement positive.
Anger is so important when we struggle. And so being angry and being brave are central ingredients of transformation. If we cannot be angry about violation, then we cannot take ourselves to the place that enables us to begin the transformation.
If they would have alerted everybody peacefully, they could have talked about it, we could have had a meeting of awareness, and it wouldn't be so much anger involved. I think that the women of Spelman need to be more responsible about how they act.
And the numbers are really important when you consider more than 75% of these cases occur within the context of the same community, same race, same ethnicity, etc. And the amount of energy that has been expended in the coverage of the Duke lacrosse rape case, simply because, as so many reporters have described it, it was the perfect storm. White boys, privilege, love and sex and violence across the color line. It's the kind of story that goes on and on. And for me, it was important to be upset about what may have occurred in Durham that night, earlier this year. But this is an issue not about the spectacularities of rape and violence, but it's about what happens to black women's bodies.
For me personally, I'm a survivor through the grace of God. And it's nothing more than that. I still to this day experience sexual terrorism. Every time I enter a room, I'm always aware of the exits, where I am in conjunction with the exit, how fast I can get to that exit, how many men are in the room, where do I need to sit, where do I need to place myself. That's a product of sexual terrorism. I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to enter a space and feel safe. Who feels safe in this day and age?
Because sure enough, as this woman was allegedly raped in Durham, March 13, 2006, there were likely many other black women raped in Durham that night. And dozens of them raped in Durham since then that are never going to get the kind of response that we saw in the Duke lacrosse case.
There was accusations going around. There was persons in shirts saying, Morehouse raped me. And how do you come as an equal coalition partner and say, hey, I want to foster a dialogue with you, and genuinely say, hey, please reciprocate that idea, those thoughts? That's not true, because you're naturally put on the defense. First off, the student body wasn't alerted. Secondly, the administration wasn't alerted that this was happening in the middle of an SGA event in which we were electing our officers. It was this just huge rudeness and disruption that took place.
Powerful. Upset the status quo. You know,
interrupted
it. Yeah, you know. And how dare you do that? I mean, we want to work with our sisters. We want to be with them, and at the same time, how dare you come on our campus doing this?
We need to address the hurt that was given to the student body from their actions, and again, that was, if we really want to be about forgiveness and unity, if we want to focus on the forgiveness and unity and bring our organizations together, like how do we foster that? And that was why the apology was requested in the Senate Bill 001. Say, hey, we want to foster the healing process. How do we do that? Let's stand in solidarity. Let's be coalition partners. But before that, we need to recognize as mature individuals that there was hurt, legitimate hurt there. And I don't care anything, in any relationship in the world in which you're ever a part of, you have to identify certain things in order to move forward. So you have to back up to go forward. It's necessary.
We thought that this was totally ridiculous and was an expression of patriarchy and of a form of masculinity that is being promoted in Morehouse on several levels. For one, why should women have to apologize for having voice about their own issues and their own bodies, especially on a campus that prides itself with its allegiance to the civil rights movement and to Martin Luther King and to the struggle? The request for an apology for people that feel that they are experiencing an injustice to rally and to have voice is very contradictory and very sad. And of course, as feminists and as activists, we see no need or saw no need for an apology.
My kind of feeling on the situation was everything that's happened to us in the media has been brought on by us. So we can't really be angry at someone else for kind of airing our dirty laundry, because if it wasn't there in the first place, there wouldn't have been a grievance.
What are the aspects of how other people think about black men is not the issue. The issue is how black men think about themselves, how black men think about their behavior toward black women. And I really think that it's dangerous and it's skirting the issue to talk about don't air the dirty laundry, don't talk about these things in front of outsiders. I think that every community is talking about these issues. Women all over the world are struggling with these issues. And it's really not appropriate and it's not productive for us to say we can't talk about that because it might have something to do with race issues. It might have something to do with how white Americans look at black Americans.
I went directly to Spelman Public Safety to give them a copy of the order and explain everything that was going on and who else I was working with, just so that they would be aware, because they're always talking about, if anything happens, let us know.
In September 2006 is when I first became aware of what was happening with Tiara. It actually happened during our first competition. Tiara was in the middle of the race, literally, and I was just cheering her on, and then at one point she just stopped and said, "Coach, I can't do this." And I said, "What's wrong? What's going on?" And she just started crying, and I held her. This young lady's being terrorized. She's being stalked, so is this guy present at the cross-country meet? She ended up informing me that there was a guy who's just appearing in places all the time, walking past her classroom when she's in classes. He would get into her locked car. He would write these really bizarre notes. I was really afraid for her, and at that point I realized that, something needs to be done, and this young lady's being terrorized.
Professor Lowry, Ms. Vincent, and my coach got together. Within 3 days, I was meeting with the investigators from the district attorney's office. Gave the DA's office all the information. That day, the investigators went to campus, pulled him out of class, sat him in the Morehouse security place, had a meeting with him. So the Dean of Student Affairs at Morehouse, 3 sheriffs, 2 investigators from the district attorney's office, head of security over there, head from security over here. A whole bunch of people were in that room to serve him with the papers, to tell him, you are stalking her, harassing her, leave her alone. Then in the morning, I'm trying to do a paper, and he spent a long time just with IMs, and so finally I just wrote back. I said, "Did you get served with the restraining order papers?" He said, "Yes." I said, did you read the papers? He said, yes. I said, do you understand you're violating the restraining order right now? And then he launched into the whole, oh, I love you, you don't understand, just listen to me, just listen to me, just listen to me. I was like, whatever. And so I went to the DA's office, gave them all that, printed that conversation out, gave it to them. And I went to class. Right then, they went and pulled him up out of class, arrested him, and put him in jail. So I'm just like ecstatic. I'm like, within 3 days of the Women's Center finding out, it was done. And he was in jail for harassing me.